Good morning. Just thought I'd do a quick video while I make up this little journal on a Sunday morning. I made these music sheet covered with napkins after I received my napkin swap the other day, and backed it onto some cardstock coffee dye that I got in a swap. So there's 2 swap items in this so far. And I thought I would make up a little journal using some assorted coffee dyed papers. So I've selected, I think, 10 sheets here and started to kind of put them together. I wanted to play around with the order of them because I've got all the little ones in the middle. This one I've folded over and I'll make little tuck spots with that. I think I will put that in the center. And then this one has some stenciled flowers. Maybe I'll put that closer to the front. This one has cut with the scissors, the fancy edge scissors. So maybe put that one next to something that'll show them off a little bit, like a really light paper next to that. If I turn this one inside out, then you'll be able to see that. Very crooked looking. Straighten that up. Crooked is okay, but I don't want crooked this morning. Put that with my scraps. So that'll show up nicely against that lighter page. And these are probably going to be more all the same height. And then that's 3. Try to do like a plain page in between each fancy page sort of thing. Maybe I'll cut this one with the fancy scissors too, just to have, well, that's not going to show up as well though. I'll put that next to a dark one, it will. If I put this one next. And then this one, but cut with the fancy edge scissors. I don't want all of the, I want the top and bottom to be even, but I want the side here to have different levels. So like that, and then you go back in a bit with a straight edge, and then a ripped edge, and then a scissor edge, and then a ripped edge. So just a little bit of variety that way. It's just my mood this morning. That's just what I feel like doing. No rhyme or reason. And then you can do a light color with the scissors. Cut some off of this. These ones aren't the ripple, these are Fiskars. It doesn't have a number or anything, it's just showing this shape. It gives you an interesting design. A little bit different than the tear ruler, but it could pass as a tear ruler design. And I think I'm going to put that one this way because I'm going to cut the bottom edge off and I've got a tear there. So we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pages. This is going in the center. And so this outside edge one, I think I would like it to be a little fancier than this. So I have all of these papers that I dyed. Oh, this pink one might be a pretty first page. It's got doily and it's pink. What it is it's pink paper that I coffee dyed. So I think I'll do that one. It has rounded edges. I don't know what this was from. pretty. So I'll put that on the outside paper. Probably going to cut those holes off. And then figure out my height. So put these down again. I think I'll leave it in like 1/8 of an inch or so. And same thing down here, so about here. I don't really measure, I just mark and trim. Well, I will measure just to make sure that I keep this the same length all the way across. So it's 6 3/4. So I'll just mark that again up here on the pink page. I'm going to rip my pink page first. And sometimes what I'll do, if I get that little tufty bit, I will sometimes just trim it with scissors. Looking for my other ripply ones. They must be over on my other table. But I'll just take scissors and just, so I don't get too crisp of an edge, just nip at it. Okay, and then I can continue to cut all of these to height by getting them where I want them lined up with the top edge and then tearing off the excess. See, now that's poking out a bit at the, even after I tapped it down, it's poking out a bit, so I'm just going to pull it down so I don't see it at the top of the pink there. And then tear that off. I've started a little pile off to the left here. Again, tap that down so that it's lined up at the top. And I'm just going to pull it down just a bit there because it's either crooked or something. Something's not perfect. And then I'll stick this guy in. Maybe I'll just look at it from the front this way and line them up instead of tapping them down because that's not, doesn't seem to be working well. Over. Creasing that pink page, getting pretty beat up. And the problem with this too is you end up getting a little bit longer each time. So then you can go back and trim it more. I don't know that I would want to use these ones for that. this off. It's hard to trim off little bits. It's easier to trim off a wider strip. Those will end up in my paper making bucket. And that jingle bell sound you just heard was indeed jingle bells. On my back door I have a jingle bell wreath that I leave up all year long. And it's sort of like my doorbell. I know when someone's come in. That was Brian going out. I think he just came in to wash his hands or something. Don't remember what he said. He was going to water his trees. That's what he was going to do. He started some trees from oak trees from acorns and hickory trees from hickory nuts last fall, and he just planted them last weekend. I had them in his shop over the winter, gradually turning into little seedlings. And he just planted them last weekend, and they're doing really well. They have every one of them has some new growth on it. He's pretty pleased with himself. He's making his own little forest up here on the hill. Okay, and then this guy I think is already the right width. I mean, it's not going to be the same height as everything else. It's going to be shorter. I might add lace to both sides of this or something to make it the same height. And then I hate to cut this off. Maybe I'll fold these edges over too instead of cutting them. It just sort of gives them a little bit more strength. So I'm just going to mark roughly where it needs to fold. I'll do that fold. I'm going to do it this way first so that I can see my mark. And then I'll fold it back. I'll go ahead. I'm going to check it first before I glue it down. Just check that it's the right width. It can be a little wider than the rest of the pages. I don't mind if my first page of the journal is a little bit wider than the rest, as long as it's not wider than the cover. I make up my own rules. That's one of my rules. This is not supposed to be any rules, right? But if you have your own rules, that's fine. You're allowed to break them too. So that ended up, it's not even that much shorter. It's pretty much the same as the rest, but we've got a little bit of texture because of the different page edges. I really like that. And even like top to bottom, we have a little bit of different texture. This one's got ripped edges. This one's mostly square edges because it's the original page edge. Maybe I'll leave that to the top. Let's see. I'm going to glue these down. I was working with this glue yesterday and it was fine. Sometimes I need to burp it. I think these tips are just a little fine for the glue that I'm using. You have to really squeeze and it comes out really slow, which is in one way a good thing. You don't go too fast with it, but you make a mess. And then I also found that I sometimes have to clean out the needle tip, so I've got a very thin sewing needle that will fit in there. if I can see to get it in there. And just make sure that it's not clogged because it's such a fine tip. And then just make sure I wipe off my needle. I have a little magnet clip sitting on the side of my desk here where I stick that back up. Come on. There, got some air behind it now. Had a day in the sun yesterday. Finally, some sunshine. Even when we went camping, I didn't get much sun. But yesterday we just sat out on the patio in the sun for most of the day. Brian's mom was here. We had a nice lunch and sat in the sun. She had a book that she was reading. I was doing some sorting ribbon, and Brian was sitting and chatting with us. It was a very nice day, and I got a bit of color on me, which makes me feel much more healthy and happy. It's a long winter. I like that you can still see a bit of that doily imprint there. And then I'm going to glue these ones down as well. I like the dark edge on these. I don't remember how I achieved that effect. I'm just about due for another coffee dye day. I'm going to try some colors this time. Trying to find some more pink paper because I like the pink paper coffee dyed. If I found a ream of pale pink paper, I wouldn't need to bother trying to dye some pink. I can just add some effects to it with coffee because I don't really do a very, very, very clean paper journal. I like to have the little bit grungy papers. I suppose I could do the same with some aqua paper, but it's not as easy to come by. I usually find pink and yellow and baby blue, but I want to make some aqua paper. So those are glued. And I think while I've got this out, I think I will just add something to the edge of it. And I think it'll just be a flat lace. Got some on a roll here. Just the ivory lace. I'm not sure how much is on here, but I just need that much. What I was doing yesterday was taking all my lace or ribbons off of these spools and putting them onto little cards, just whale tail tab cards. And I'm working with a really big Rubbermaid tote and trying to condense it into a little Sterilite basket to try to just let it take up less room in my craft room. Is the plan. Actually, for this, I'm going to use tacky glue because this will take forever. And I'm trying to use up this bottle of tacky glue so I can refill it. So I'm going just a little bit away from the edge. And then I'll lay this into it. and let that hang out over the edge. It might not come exactly up to the same height as the other papers, but it'll be closer. And it's just going to add a little bit of texture. Drag that over just a touch while it's still wet. It sticks pretty quick. There. On the other side. So sometimes you think, oh, that paper's not the right size for that book, but then you can make it the right size by doing something like this. And it's also okay just to have different size pages. A lot of junk journals have odd size pages inserted in them. Not just different types of paper, but different sizes of paper. Length and width. I got one little piece left. I may be able to use that on the cover for some continuity. That looks pretty. And then I could do some stamping or something on there. Like I said, I love these dark edges. It really defines the pocket automatically. I suppose I could have glued something else to the back side to strengthen that up. I could still do that. I've got more strips of this coffee dyed paper here. Even if it didn't go all the way, just something that would strengthen that. And for that, I'll just use some glue stick. Should have done it before I folded it and glued it, but I can squeeze it in there. In fact, I could even leave it sticking out a bit, but that wasn't my intention. Just so that's not going to tear so easy. A little bit more strength. Find a narrow enough piece that it won't stick out by mistake. This one's good. Cut that dark corner off because I can use that in a collage. And you see how precise I'm being, just ripping it. It's not, it doesn't even have to be coffee dyed really, but I just happen to have them sitting here. The offcuts from the pages. There, that's just a little sturdier. And this lifted, so I'm going to just use some tacky to fix that. There, that brings it up a little closer to the same height. I'll probably center it up when I go to bind it, which I think is going to be now. So I'll make myself a template. And some of my templates I have been saving, but this I don't even know if it was a half a sheet. I really don't even know. So it needs to be the same length. I'll make it the same length as the pink page. first so I can get it cut straight. Could have even ripped it, it doesn't really matter. And I know I've showed you this before, but we'll do it lengthwise. And then in half finds the middle of the page. And then down maybe about 3/4 of an inch for this book. 5/8 to 3/4-ish. And then I will mark the intersections just so I can see them. And first I will do my I don't have my all out. I wonder if this little guy will work. First I'll do the cover. So this is my bird cover. Bird and flowers, bird and blooms, I guess you'd say. And so I'm just going to center this up, top to bottom, visually. And now he's weed eating out there. And then I'm going to poke through those holes. Really should be doing this from the outside in. Because you do get these little things poking out. What I can do though is I can take my little dotting tool and try to poke those back in. I should have done this one from like inside out. I kind of learned that when I was doing a whole bunch one day. I was poking them all together at once, and I was always getting those little poke out bits. So then I started punching these this way, which I'll do on the next time I do it, I'll do that. Anyway, these are lined up good this way. I just have to center this one in the middle. Everything else was pretty much the same height. I'll do it like that. And that would maybe look better against a darker side, but we'll just leave it. It would look better if the page underneath was darker so you could see the lace better. But it's all good. So then we'll center up this template in these pages. I wouldn't mind catching the lace on both sides with my sewing. And a bit of clamp to get a slightly better result when I clamp, so things don't move. And my clamps are right handy, so and make sure that those are all down tight before I poke. Oh, this works good. I don't need that all out all the time after all. Y'all. Okay, so there's my holes. You can't see these end ones because they're going through the lace, but they are there. Get this out of the way. And bring this back in. Clamp these in to the book. Again, just want to make sure they're firmly down in there. And I do actually end up with some pages poking out, don't I? That's not good. I didn't check that. But these pink ones are a little wide, and so are some of these others. Maybe I can put, what I'll do is I'll put lace on the edge here because I was wanting to embellish it a bit anyway. In fact, I have this chenille bedspread strip that might just do the ticket. Yeah, that'll be pretty. So not to worry. There's always a solution, right? If something isn't working out the way you think it should be, maybe it's because you forgot that there's something else the universe wanted you to do with it. I know that makes me sound a little kooky, but that's okay too. All right, so now we've got that in there. I'm gonna grab my needle, and I think I'm gonna use purple thread cord. It's a braiding cord for the friendship bracelets. I'll use the purple. And I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna go 5, because I think what I would like to do with this one is add some charms that have long cord dangles that you can then use as a place marker in the book. I don't always do that, but I thought I would like to on this one. I've got lots of flower and bird charms that I can add to it. Can you hear the weed eater? Okay, so as usual, in through the center, out through the center. I'm going to leave a little bit longer dangle than normal. And then in through either end, it doesn't matter. Find that hole now. Oh, my eyes are getting bad. I remember when my mom's eyes started to go, and I was still maybe in my 40s, late 30s, and I thought, oh, mine are never going to do that. I mean, I've worn glasses since grade 4, but this close-up stuff was never a problem. I remember just thinking, oh, mine will never get like that. Here I am, having to take off my glasses all the time to see stuff. And then back in through the center. Sorry, I'm not really explaining this part this time. So you want one cord on one side and the other cord on the other side of the center string. And then before I tie it, I'm just going to sort of even these two ends up. I've got them quite uneven. Better. Just make sure everything's tight. That's blending in nicely with those purple flowers. And then I'll just tie 2 knots around that center string. And I'm going to leave these long because I want to add some charms. Beads and charms probably. That's what I'll do. That might be a separate video. I don't have that stuff out here with me. I work in my dining room. My craft room is so full of stuff that I can't even work in there. Got to get that corrected. Maybe by next winter so that I can work in there. Okay, so there's my book. And if we just do a real quick flip through, we've got our pink cover page, which is nice and kind of crinkly. And then coffee dyed with the cut edge. Really nice patterns on these coffee dyes that I did with my niece, Kimberly. There's this page we stenciled. And then there's that center page with the lace in the pockets. It looks a little tidier than all the rest with the lace on it. And then these look really crooked. I could fix them. Maybe not. Love the edge on this one too. There. So let's do something to the front cover. I should have maybe done that before I bound it, but that's okay. Let's work that spine a little bit so it'll lay flat, at least when it's new. Once someone starts adding stuff into it, it may not lay flat anymore. Okay, so I picked out a few things that I thought maybe I'd want to use to decorate the front, and this was one of the things. But I was just thinking as a small accent, and now I'm thinking to cover up the fact that the pages are a little wide, that I'll do something like this. I don't really even have to, this has rounded corners already. I don't have to go all the way to the top, especially if I round these corners, just so that they're not poking up. Use my biggest one. See, then that's not showing. And I don't have to bring the chenille up so far. And this will be tacky glue. So I'm going to start it right just after the round corner. This is also covering up the square edge of the napkin. And I'm going to just cut this off. Try to rip it so it's not such a perfect edge. And do I want it this way? Yeah, I think I want it this way. Could go all the way around, but I think I'll just do that edge. I like this little bit of coffee dyed cardstock showing. Scissors are just about done. They need to be sharpened or just gone. Cheapies. Just pull that to sort of center it. I just love using those bits of chenille. I had just a part of a chenille bedspread. I didn't even have the whole thing. I think I got it at a yard sale or something, and was gonna make, maybe make some pillows or something out of it, and I never have. So I'm glad I just decided one day I'm gonna cut this up, at least part of it. I cut up into strips and stuff. So I thought, I'll use that in my journals if I have it cut up, but if I don't cut it up, I'll just leave it up there and hoard it. So that's another thing that you can do when you're not feeling creative, but you want to do something for your junk journaling, is just cut up things that you know you would like to use, but they're sitting up in your storage or in your craft room because you're afraid to cut into them, or you don't take the time to cut into them in the middle of a project. So I just added this in with my ribbon scraps because it's kind of like ribbon, and I thought I could use it for tag toppers as well. So I just cut some of the chenille stripes off of the bedspread. So that I really like the way that looks and feels. It gives it a bit of a touchy-feely element. Even like the raw torn edges on the under piece of cotton fabric that it's on. And then I have a little lace doily. I don't want to cover up the scroll or the flower, but I thought maybe like about here. And I also have this page tab, which if I'm going to put inside, I would want it in more than one place. Maybe I'm going to have to grab another one. This is just like a little piece of book page that I kind of folded up and twisted and sewed. Simple. So maybe I'll put those on the edge of that pocket. I was kind of thinking of adding something to the edges of the pockets. We'll see. I won't do that right yet. Not 100% sure on that. And I don't have any, I've got this fabric that's sort of the right color. A piece of, that's not quite the right color. This one is. It's a bit big. I'm just thinking it'd be nice to have something behind this. There's a pale purple. That's going to cover up this scroll though. And then I was thinking of a sentiment too. I've got Take a Breath kind of ready to go. Maybe I'll back that with some purple or pink. I can find the right color. Let's see. Oh, cardstock here, mauve. That'll be pretty. That's almost the same color as that fabric, just a little bit different. Or if I could find something in this tone. I've got these pieces of herringbone, but they're a little bit more coral. Oh, here's some pink. Some dusty pink. It's a project someone started for a 4x6 photo, it looks like. But that'll work. I just simply glue this down onto the pink. And then take my fancy scissors and just have a tiny bit of that pink showing around the outside edge. This way you don't have to guess at how big that little underneath piece needs to be. You just sew it down or glue it down and then cut around it. In case you were doing it the hard way. These days I'll show you the little cart that I keep behind me. So take a breath. And like I said, I don't really want to cover up that scroll. I don't want to cover up this music. There's not a whole lot of room to decorate if you're... I'm going to have to rethink this. Maybe I'll just do a little snippet of this. Still leaving my beige showing. And do that. I can bring that right up to there, and then I can nip this off on an angle. I don't like things square cut. I did these square though, didn't I? Maybe I'll do that on an angle. And some of you are probably saying, well, didn't you just say in a video the other day that you don't like square corners, or you didn't like rounded corners at one time? I'm a Gemini, all different things. So I'll put that down with some tacky glue. Right along here, right out to that tip. I'll just put a little bit along in here too. Don't really want it flapping up. And again, I want to leave that little bit of cardstock showing at the bottom, but I want to pull this over to the pink. And that shows as much of the flower as possible. A little bit of that fluff there, but I could just I'll just put that at the end there. Oops, not the glue stick, Jude. Put the Take a Breath down first so I can see where it needs to be. I'm going to put that fairly close to the corner. And then I'm just going to pop a little bit of glue just kind of in underneath it. Just a little daub of glue, and then I'm going to put this into it. This is where my little silicone thing would come in handy if I had it handy. There it is. Just to poke that in there and press down. And that just gives me another little bit of 3D fuzzy fun. Just hold that for a minute. And then with this little charms that'll be on there, And then maybe what I'll do is I've got bird stencils, so I could take and stencil some birds throughout the book. I should put a pocket inside the front and back cover. Maybe I'll use some music paper for that. Unless I've got some more of this. Yeah, I do. I have some more. Oh, that's not a piece I want to cut. I do. I have some more of this same paper, music paper with the same napkin on it. So again, it's not very sturdy, so I think I want to glue it to something else first. So because it's already 2 layers, just because it's going to be a pocket, I want it to be a little bit more sturdy. But not too stiff and sturdy. Maybe I'll just glue a little bit of this to it. It's just cardstock, but it's not really going to be seen. These pockets don't need to be very big. If I make it a pocket across the bottom, I can tuck a fairly big bookmark in there, or if I did one up the side, no, because I'll want them going this way because of what I have to work with here. So like that. And with a rounded corner. At the bottom. That's not the right shape of rounded corner, but that's okay. And I'll just round the other edges just with the very small corner rounder. And then I'll do another one for the back cover. It's just a little crooked. This might be better for the back cover. Doesn't matter. Okay, so where am I gonna want this? I'll take a piece of the purple. This is actually gonna go on the back side, but I'm just sort of figuring out where I'll cut. So maybe I'll do it, one of them where the music is showing. And I could do another one down here with the music showing. So I'm just going to use the glue stick to glue these down. And like I was saying the other day, the more the paper has texture, the more of this glue stick it picks up, which is good because the more it needs, right? So this I'm going to put on the back where it will grab some of the music paper. And the flowers. Let's see how I did. Kind of did that a little bit blind. That might have been something that I should have let dry a little bit before I cut it out, but it's not moving, it's just a little soggy. So there's one pocket. And see, the purple paper wasn't necessary. It was just because it was cardstock. So that stiffens that pocket up enough, but I'll ink those edges before I glue it down. See about doing this other one. This other piece of paper. Now I want this one. Actually, that one goes in the back. So my bird's facing up. So that one will go back here because I've got the bigger rounded corner on this bottom right-hand corner. And then the other one will go up here, so it's going to go like this. So, well, I just let could do all purple to continue down, and then maybe salvage this. If I did this, then I could still use this for something, but my bird is going to be cut off. If I do it like here, then I'm going to get a little bit of the pink and a little bit of the music. I think I'll do that. So I want to glue this side because I want to put it like this underneath there. That's sometimes where you mess up too, is you flip it over because you're used to flipping it over to glue it. You got to really think about that sometimes. I'll stick this in underneath. I avoid that torn edge there. And I'm letting the music kind of straighten me up. And let's see how we did. And I also could have waited to round my corners so I didn't have to cut around them. And if I don't like the way they are, I can round them again with a larger round over. So there's my second pocket. There's my first pocket. And then this little strip can still be used as a journaling card or something. I can back it onto some more cardstock. In fact, while I'm thinking of it, let's just go ahead and do that. Just cut that straight across. I'm going to go ahead and cut this down here, and what I'll do is I'll collage something over that, maybe put my sentiment there, just so that I get something that goes right through. I'll just throw these little scraps in my music paper drawer. I have a little tiered cart, and I have a bunch of different drawers for different things. So just as a little bonus for today's video, I will show you how I can use this. So I just have this piece of cardstock that I got from work. And what I'll do is I'll just glue it down to it. And then what I might do later is come back, and I might even leave these holes, they're kind of cool. Come back and collage around the edge with different coffee dyed papers and stuff. And then this will become a journaling card or a tag. So I'll just go ahead and glue that down. Then it's not just floating around, you know, it's used. And I've always got a few of these collaged cards sort of sitting at my desk waiting to be finished in different stages. Because one time if I'm wanting something to do, if I feel like collaging, I'll just grab some cardstock out of the junk mail and collage on it, and just sort of try to keep my scrap drawers not so full. I'm going to even give myself some more room and put this out in the middle a bit so that there's room to collage all the way around it. But at least that's started, and it reminds me that that's got to be done. I mean, I could even go after I'm finished with the book and use up this pile of scraps right beside me, but I'll just set that aside for now. And glue these in after I ink them. So I think I'm going to use the walnut stain just so it's dark enough that you can see it, because this is already pretty aged paper. But yeah, that's showing up nicely. Actually, I wonder, this would be a good time for me to check. I got some new inks the other day and I haven't opened them yet. I can't believe I haven't, but I haven't. They're the archival inks minis. Distress archival ink. I got them on Amazon. So if I can, I will link them below for you. And this I'm going to save to make a tag. I'll just collage on it. And I usually collage right over this on one side, or if I put the coffee dyed paper on first, I'll do that. And then I'll cut this back out just by doing a few holes and then using my X-Acto knife to trim it out. And then I'll collage the other side and cut it out. So that's a perfect tag size. So these always save. My bottom drawer is for my junk mail stuff that I want to save for that kind of thing. I will do a video soon of showing you my cart. I might save this to keep these in. It just keeps them corralled on my desk. I might decorate the top edge or something. I don't know. Just thinking out loud. So I've got black soot, ground espresso, which is a color I didn't have, hickory smoke, which is also a color I didn't have, and everybody's favorite, vintage photo. But I think I'll try the ground espresso on here and just see how it works. I like the lids on these. And they're still small, but see how they're rectangular instead of square? Be interesting to see how this color looks on this. Oh yeah, it's much darker. Almost a black brown. And this is, I guess, an ink that doesn't run if you get it wet. So if you wanted to do some stamping onto something that you're going to coffee dye, you could do that. I like the way that looks. Especially with this book having so many dark papers in it and being up against something that's already fairly dark, it'll show up better. So I do like that. And that might just be something that I keep them in. I wish I had this tray for these because they are always moving around on my desk. Okay, so these ones, yeah, see it shows up a little better against this darker paper now. And my question to myself is just, do I make it a pocket or a tuck? I think I'm going to make it a tuck. So I'll just do this side and the bottom, and that way it'll be easier to get things in and out of it. So one trick when you're gluing something like this, that it matters which way it goes, right? So you hold on to the edges that don't need glue. It's easier when it's only one edge. But I want to do the rounded corner and the bottom. I'm using the tacky glue just because it's quicker. And I'm just going to leave myself a little bit of a border on the side and the bottom. And I don't want to be right into the corner either. That, and then I can make a little something to go in there. And then in the back, same thing. This way. So side and bottom. I like the way they look. And that just extends that same theme to the inside. music and flowers. And yeah, reinforce those. I could do the same on the pink ones, or I was thinking I might glue something else all the way along the edges. It's really kind of fragile. Anyway, it turned out pretty cute. I don't think I'll decorate the front anymore. I like it just the way it is. The back I will just leave as it is, but I'll sign it. I'll find my black pen. And just and some of my books that I've been selling, I've been signing like on the back signature, back of the signature, Thistledew Creations. It's probably something that I should get a stamp for, but I like doing it like this. And then, like I say, when I get making some more master boards and tags, I will try to remember to find some tags to fit in there. But even if I just pick some ephemera that I've already got made, it would work too. But anyway, just a fun little Sunday morning project. Now I think I'll use some of these scraps and finish up that tag. So if I get going with that, I'll show you that as well. So hope you enjoyed this little video. Like, comment, share with a friend, subscribe. I'd love to have you as part of the Thistledew Creations family. Enjoy your day.